And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Toyota Stadium, live here in Frisco, Texas, for the 2021 Dallas Cup Girls Invitational presented by Mary Kay. It's the U18 championship game alongside Steve Davis. I'm Owen Newkirk. Steve, we've already seen two fantastic finals with some incredible players in the 16 and 17 divisions. Now we get the U18s, and it looks like we're going to see, for the second time, FC Dallas versus Solar. This time it's the Solar 04 FDL team against the FC Dallas 03 West Red. And immediately jumping off the page is Solar went through the group stage a perfect 3-0, whereas FC Dallas had to advance clawing through at 1-1-1 via goal differential.
Well, we know sometimes in tournament play, clawing your way through is the way to do it. We also know the other way is with very special players. Seen a couple of those, so we'll see who stands out as special in this one.
Today's starting lineup is brought to you by Adidas. First we have for FC Dallas West Red. Who stands out for you today, Steve?
Bethany Beal scored the goal to get them here. She plays in the back, so we'll see if she can get forward and get another one.
On the other side for Solar, it's hard not to go right to Callista Huff when you look at their starting lineup.
9 goals for Callista Huff, so she can obviously put it in the back of the net.
And of course, they also have a trio of 2-goal scorers. So with Solar, it's not just about Huff, although she's dominated. There's also Hutchinson, Leggett, and Olam, who have all bagged 2 during group play. So it should be interesting to see what this U18 final is, as we'll get ready for the opening kickoff here from Toyota Stadium with the national anthem, as the 2021 Dallas Cup continues, presented by Mary Kay, live right here on ESPN 3 on this beautiful afternoon in Frisco. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
New Highlander, Mr. D?
Yeah, it was time for a change. For something nicer, more refined, with plenty of space. Comfy, Derek?
Yes, sir.
Elevate every ride in the spacious 2021 Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
Get excited about driving again in the new 2021 Toyota RAV4. Toyota, let's go places.
You got me falling hard, sweet baby, you got me falling hard for you. And still, I felt this way before, you know it's true. And still, you got me more and more. Oh, you got me falling hard.
Style, performance, power, pancake, turtleneck sweater, aardvark, Worcestershire, or Shire, I guess. It doesn't matter what I say. The Camry speaks for itself. Toyota, let's go places.
Today's game is brought to you by Toyota and by Coca-Cola. And it's a lovely afternoon here in Frisco at Toyota Stadium. Alongside Steve Davis, I'm Owen Newkirk. Steve, this is the U18 girls final between Solar and FC Dallas. It has been a wonderful day of action here at the Dallas Cup 2021 already, and this proves I would expect to be another fascinating one. We got a chance to observe some of the match on Tuesday of the semifinals for both of these clubs, and they were both very impressive.
Yep, and it was just a little bit more cloudy, a little bit more windy.
Yes, it was.
Beautiful day out here as they brought back not just the finals, of course, but the girls' division of the Dallas Cup, something Executive Director Andy Swift has wanted to do for a while. Brought it back, found the right sponsor in Mary Kay, and here we are.
I'll tell you one thing, Steve. We watched for the second time the younger of the Solar teams. This time the 04 Solars beat the 03 Solars in the semifinal. We saw that earlier in today's action as well, with the U16 team losing to the U15 team to get to the final here this morning, and that's again here this afternoon. We watched a little bit of Solar on Solar action in the semifinal, and this younger 04 team I thought really impressed, and one that really stood out to me was Solar's Callista Huff, because not only did she score a team high 9 goals, but she has a very imposing presence on the field.
Well, we've talked about it, how at this level the special players tend to stand out very quickly. We saw it in the last game, and so just a minute in, I bet we'll see pretty quickly who the special players are out here.
Solar battling for it in the middle of the park. Emery Olam back on the near side for Alyssa Austin. Oh, nice little heel for Mainsley Hutchinson. Tried to roll it forward for Amelia Leggett, but it's collected and held by FC Dallas goalkeeper Mackenzie Goen. She'll send it up the field.
Nice work there by FCD defender Bethany Beal, just to get her positioning right so that she controlled that situation without ever having to touch the ball. Gets her body position right, lets the ball just roll back to the goalkeeper while she's screening the attacker.
Interesting, Steve, we're looking at a back 3 for FC Dallas here. The first time we've seen only 3 at the back in the 3 games that we've done so far.
Yeah, we see that sometimes. It's usually it's adding an extra player in the midfield. Sometimes you just have more good center backs than you have outside backs.
Well, there is Callista Huff. She is the leading scorer for this Solar 04 team. But it's knocked out for a throw-in for FC Dallas. Well, Solar won the U17s. They were a very, very, very talented club. See if the 18s can follow suit, because FC Dallas will certainly want to do their own. Yes, you said we just talked about they had to claw and scratch, but they were able to beat Shamrock Rovers, and I was pretty impressed with that Rovers club. And yet FC Dallas handled themselves quite well in that one. There were also some moments, Steve, if I remember correctly, that we were talking about in that semifinal where you thought maybe there was a little bit of, containing energy because there were high school games that night.
Yeah, well, you talked about it in the earlier match that they moved those semifinals to the morning because so many of the players had high school playoff matches that evening. We've talked before in the earlier games about how this is the 5th match in 6 days for all of these players, in addition to having some high school playoff action involved. And we've seen it in some of the earlier games, how fatigue does set in a little bit. It's getting warmer out there. It's a very big field. It's a professional field. Of course, FC Dallas plays here. So there's a lot of ground to cover. We've seen, it's interesting also, Owen, that we've seen different teams approach it differently. We've seen, we watched one Solar team win a championship a while ago with making very few substitutions. And then we've seen most of the teams so far making a lot of substitutions as the game goes on.
It would be interesting to see, Steve, if that holds true again with Solar, because in the U17s that we just finished a half an hour ago, as there's a play forward down the near side for Hutchinson. Stepped into pretty nicely there by Abby Worthy, is that we didn't really see wholesale changes from the U17 Solars until the game was pretty much, the result was decided.
Yeah.
Whereas FC Dallas in the 17s, they actually did a tactical change very quickly, and then, of course, forced one due to injury midway through the half, which looked like an apparent head injury.
Yeah, and they were chasing the game most of the way through, so they had to make some of those tactical adjustments.
Well, deflected on the near side is Delaney Chappell. But a little bit of a heavy touch from Madison Murphy for Solar.
Yeah, but really nice read of the play there and step up by Madison Murphy. And you're right, the distribution wasn't as clean as probably she would have liked. But just to read that play and step in there and win that ball was impressive. Nice turn there.
Long ball forward. Here's Huff charging down the center. Has some help. Leggett. And right to Mackenzie Goen. Didn't force her to go to either side and turned into a comfortable save.
So all of that gets started, though, because Ainsley Hutchinson wins a ball on the right side and then plays a really good early ball. Doesn't allow FCD backline and midfield to get organized before they're aiming that first ball, that early ball into Callista Huff.
Taking a look at the lineup, the formation for Solar, Steve, it looks like a little bit of a 4-3-3 with some pretty advanced wingers with Huff on the left, and that would be Hutchinson on the right.
Yep.
With Leggett running through the center.
And of course, that's the formation we saw for the under-17s that just won a few minutes ago.
Oh, we have to see how that goes up against the back three for FC Dallas, the 03 West Red team. Don't forget, we still have one more match to go beyond this at 4 o'clock Central Time with the U19s, which should be a thrilling encounter as well.
I do think, Owen, that we're going to see some degree of interchange between these three front runners for Solar. I saw some of that the other day.
Nice play by Olam forward, a long effort. Going. Take a double touch, but hangs on to that one as Amelia Leggett's effort. A little bit more aerial attack here early on, Steve. Will be interesting to see if they continue to be direct in the air like that or if they try to play it on the ground. We saw from the 17s very much keeping it and moving the ball fluidly. Of course, Jaden Shaw put on a bit of a clinic for everybody, and boy, wasn't that a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, when you have a player like that, of course, you want her to control the tempo, and she did a great job of it.
Dallas with a throw-in, a flick forward. That was Delaney Chappell's first effort. Couldn't connect with Kylie Swanson, who has one of the 3 goals. Bethany Beal, as Steve mentioned earlier, has 2. FC Dallas only conceded 3 times in the tournament. They scored 3, but they were able to turn that into... Oh, I read that wrong. They scored 5. They conceded 3. They were able to be the low defending team in this group stage to get to the semis and then the final. Knock forward. And Leggett will play it back.
Nice win in the midfield by Elizabeth Craig to get all this started.
Now Huff. We will see some interchange, I would imagine, from the front 3 as they have done that. Hutchinson now. Olam. Now and look to catch an arm. The referee says play on. And Casey Duren will track it down. Or excuse me, that's Madison Murphy for Solar. Intercepted by Ella Chen on the FC Dallas side of things, but a little bit discombobulated as far as possession. Now Solar looking to try to run forward. It's a highly contested midfield to start. Good defensive play by Abby Worthy. Pressure coming here. Bethany Beal had to knock that one away. Steve, that's interesting when your leading scorer is your center back, what that says about your team and how you get goals. Nice turn. Olam. Beal recovers, takes the shot, and in the end, Mackenzie Goen with a comfortable save. But when your center back is your leading scorer, it may be a little bit more of a pragmatic approach to the offense.
Set pieces are important in all phases and all levels of the game. Tournament play no different.
It's a first touch for Blankenship. Anna Blankenship is the goalkeeper for Solar. And they'll work it up the left side. It's now the second straight time that Solar's probed that flank of the FC Dallas defense. Murphy, nice little cutback, takes a hard foul, and she draws a free kick. That was a very late challenge coming in. Made a nice move and pass, but then paid the price. But Solar will be able to send players forward. And in doing so, Steve, this is one of those instances where Callista Huff really stands out because of her height advantage. You would imagine she'd be the natural target on an in-swinging ball like this.
And you would think, and we've seen set-piece goals so far in the first two games this morning, inability to clear that first ball, so we'll see how FC Dallas handles this.
Long floated effort in. Initially knocked down. Not quite cleared. And then this one from Alyssa Austin is corralled by Goen, and she's not going to waste any time. She's going to try to punt it up and look for a 50-50 ball almost immediately, hoping maybe to get Delaney Chappell or Michaela going in. Chappell playing as the central striker for FC Dallas. Here's Huff. Turns. Nice through ball. Cutting through. On the left side. A chance for Solar. Rolls wide. Good pressure by the goalkeeper as Goen came out and forced that effort wide right, as I believe Amelia Leggett thought she probably was going to open the scoring.
Well, this is the end of that sequence, but look, if you allow Callista Huff to pick up balls in that pocket between the lines and turn and get her eyes up like she just did, oh, what a good ball she just played down that left center channel.
Now, there's one thing, Steve, to be a target striker, big, looming frame, imposing. It's another to be able to have the hold-up play and make the appropriate pass off of it, and how much more multi-dimensional that makes a striker.
Not just the appropriate pass, but quick, good decision.
Corner kick comes in from the right flag. Headed forward, and Goen spills it and cleared away. After Alyssa Austin there, right back, got a header on that. Goen did a nice job to get there, but couldn't hang on. But fortunately, she had some help. Here is Austin again. She'll curl it toward the box. I don't think the game is really settled quite yet. And there's a nice flick as that was sent by Kylie Swanson into the path of the on-rushing Peyton Wilson. And they'll get a throw-in out of that.
Another good step up there.
Madeline Solano now with the throw.
Another good step up there, Owen, by Elizabeth Craig.
Ooh, a heavy challenge, and that's going to be a free kick. There's a crunching tackle. FC Dallas will get the chance to send players forward here. Take a look at this one again. She held off the first, and then looks like she got the ball, but boy.
I thought so too.
She got plenty of the player as well, didn't she? Floated ball in. Blankenship will claim.
And that's why you play a high line. Just give your keeper room to come up and claim those balls.
Interesting, Steve, that both goalkeepers have, when claiming that, have punted quickly with a lot of their players back defending, hoping to counter, maybe capitalize on a 2-on-2 or even a 2-on-3. They're not trying to build slowly out of the back here. Huff lunging into that challenge, wins the ball cleanly. Almost a giveaway there. Solar able to recover. And that crossfield pass by Carpenter could not be tracked down by Hutchinson. Worthy with the throw. Chen took the contact. Play continues. Kept it in down the line. Nice move initially by Chappell. She plays it back to Chen. Stolen away by Austin. Alyssa Austin will try to flip it forward. That one looked like it may have caught the arm, but play will continue. And Hutchinson had her attempt partially blocked. And I'll tell you one thing, Steve, there have been some fierce challenges for the ball already in the opening 14 or 15 minutes here.
Oh, look, these are obviously two of the better teams from the area. You know they've seen each other before. I'm sure the players know each other and have been in these battles together before, so you know what happens then, and you generate a little animosity.
They've already played each other once. And Solar came out on top 2-1. That was back on Saturday. Callista Huff scored both for Solar in that one. And Bethany Beal scored in the 90th minute to avoid the clean sheet. That was one of her two. But her goal, Steve, on Tuesday in the semifinal was what sent them through, and it was a very narrow one at that.
Nice job there by the referee of allowing play to go on and then drawing the play back to where a foul had occurred just a couple of seconds before.
Long ball forward by York on the free kick. Knocked down. Nicely cleared away by Murphy.
Michaela Goen got positioned there just momentarily. Murphy was able to scramble a little bit and regain position just to do enough to knock that ball out.
Steve, if I remember correctly, Michaela Goen was a particularly notable player in the semifinal, playing in that midfield role for FC Dallas, as there's a quick shot but goes over the bar. She was one of those that you say the cream stands out instantly, and I thought that she really patrolled the middle well in that game.
Yeah, you and I were both noticing that day. Casey Duran there with the quick shot.
Blankenship from the goal kick. Huff brings it down, sends it forward.
They keep allowing Huff to pick up the ball in space. They've just got to tighten that up a little bit.
Would you like to see somebody close the gap so that if she does try to bring it down, there's a defender right on her?
Yeah, well, you know, and look, let's credit Callista Huff a little bit on that, because she knows just the right time to create that separation, go look for the ball. So she's just reacting a little bit quicker in those moments.
That's going to be another Solar throw, as Alyssa Austin will take it. Golgert. Chapel couldn't chase that one down.
20 minutes in, neither team really able to establish much so far. Maybe Solar a little bit more than play, would you say?
I think so, by a little bit. Now, Amelia Leggett has been very lively so far. She's looking for Huff, and then a collision as the goalkeeper is taken down. Mackenzie Goen awarded a free kick, and I think the right decision. That was another firm challenge. She looked like she had the ball in her fingertips when she got cleaned out. Here's the look of it here.
Three players coming together there.
And she's taking a minute to collect herself. I think she's all right, but Steve, those do not feel very good when you go clattering together and you don't see it coming.
It's a nice cross from Amelia. You're saying Leggett. I hope we have that right.
I would hate to be saying Leggett when it's Leggett.
Yeah. Amelia.
Bear with us, please.
it was a good
we
cross.
Don't have a pronunciation guide.
It's a good cross from the right side, but she pops up in different places. I saw her the other day hitting some good crosses from the left side as well. So, good player like that, when you can hit, the crosses from either side, hit shots from either side, it's incredibly valuable.
Well, she was just called for a foul, probably for raising the arm a little bit in that challenge. So far, the challenges have been fierce. The possession has been spotty a bit for both sides, and as Steve just mentioned, I think he's right. A little bit in favor of Solar, but not by much. Now a little bit of a shove called against FCD. That was number 11, Madeline Solano, called for that infraction. Leggett battling. Chen. Duran was trying to get control of it, but again, like you said, Steve, not a lot of control so far in the midfield, but there's also not a lot of space there because as soon as somebody gets close to the ball, the defender is right there.
Oh, you mentioned 3 in the back for FC Dallas. That allows you to get that extra player in the midfield. And they need that because Emory Oldham's difficult to deal with. 2 good players right behind her that know how to get her the ball.
That's going to move position up the field a little bit as Worthy's throw was deflected out by Elizabeth Craig. And so Worthy will move up about 30 yards, and now they have a throw inside the attacking third. Nice little flick by Goen, but unfortunately for FC Dallas, nobody on the end of it. Huff charging back. Getting there first was Casey Duren. She'll play it up the right side. Too far for Solano. Solar trying to settle things down perhaps a little bit. Carpenter. Diagonal ball forward. Hutchinson can't quite get there. Good defending again by FC Dallas. And then Solar gets it right back. Just when you thought, Steve, that you might see a little bit of a sort of slow down possession from Solar, then they immediately went for that diagonal ball forward to the front 3. Here's Carpenter. Once again, trying to get it up to those attackers quickly. Leggett. Deflected, but kept in over on that left-hand side. Daly. Tough pass there, but Austin handled it very well in front of Chen. Up to Huff. She was trying to find Hutchinson over on the near side. Wasn't quite in her reach, and that is going to deflect out for a goal kick.
Callista Huff had her defender in a bad position. If she could have just rolled herself to the outside, I think she's not at a great angle at that point, but she's in clear on goal. Instead, she tried to combine to the inside. It just didn't quite come off for her.
Abby Worthy's going to take the goal kick here. Wonder if they might consider playing this long rather than trying to build short. She will. Low trying to connect with Duren. Chen. Chappell pressured by Austin, who's seen a lot of the ball already. Duren knocked it forward, but brought down by Madison Murphy. Intercepted. Going. Different style player than someone like Jaden Shaw we saw in the last one, but maybe a little bit more like that sort of central 6/8 style player. Sort of seems that way for Michaela Goen. We're going to get a corner kick for Solar. And once again, Steve, the target play in the box from Huff becomes instantly noticeable here. From the corner towards the penalty spot. That deflects away. It looked like it went off a Solar head, and indeed, it will be a goal kick. Interestingly, though, we've seen a couple corners now where it hasn't been obvious that the target on the corner is Huff, almost as if she's looking for the second ball. Well, Goen's going to take this one. Remember, she let Worthy take the last goal kick. Maybe they're going to try something different here.
Yeah, and I was going to say what happens when a defender goes and takes those goal kicks for whatever reason. You're immediately out of shape if you lose the ball, which happened a minute ago. So you have to do a quick reorganization job, and sometimes it's not quick enough.
Nice ball over the top from Goen, and then to the middle, and just getting there was Blankenship.
Brave goalkeeping there, and I think she paid the price.
Yes, indeed. So it started with a very nice cross from Michaela Goen, or at least a diagonal ball, and then I thought it was Duren that hit the cross from the left wing.
Yeah, a little deflected cross too.
Blankenship showed a lot of courage in what was a dicey moment. Solar's going to try to work their way out here. Hutchinson. Little miscommunication with Austin, and FC Dallas will have a throw. We're just about to hit the 26th minute of the match. And Steve, we haven't seen quite as much of the scoring chance, battle in the penalty areas yet. We've seen a couple on each side, and both goalkeepers have been a little worse for the wear.
Yeah, I mean, that might have been as close as we've come just a second ago to a scoring chance, right?
Wonder, too, if that's why Worthy took that goal kick, because Goen was still shaking off that collision. Now Blankenship's taking one. Tough to be a goalkeeper sometimes.
Yes, it is. You would know.
I've been on the wrong end of a few of those. Of course, maybe on the right end of a couple, but who's counting? Quick throw here from Blankenship. And Solar will try to lead the counter. They have some space. Leggett not allowed to turn. Good pressure there defensively. Here's Alyssa Austin again. Hutchinson.
Nice defending.
Nicely done by Worthy there. Chen flicks it forward. Not really near Kylie Swanson. And Blankenship will get it. Steve, did you notice the little bit tighter gap between the defenders and that front three as they were trying to feed that service in on that last run?
I didn't notice because what I was watching, I'm glad your eye picked it up. I'm just watching Madison Murphy and her play back there at center back for Solar. Really smart player. Understands how to use space and just understands how body positioning and getting a little bit quicker read on the game. Keeps her from having, in the last game with Solar, we saw two physical center backs. But if you can be a little quicker in your reading, you don't always have to be so physical.
We're going to get a change here, Steve, and a tactical shift as well, because Ella Chen, who was playing left outside midfield, has come off. And coming in is number 5, Regan Eisler. And she's moved right up to the front line. So they're definitely doing a bit of a shift and moving Chappell back into the left side of midfield. Interesting. Here is the aforementioned Reagan Eisler. So clearly, after nearly half an hour, FC Dallas coach Rick Lopez saw something he didn't like. And so we have the game's first substitution.
Well, Solar's had more to play through almost half an hour here, but didn't we watch the other day? Did we believe that Shamrock Rovers had more to play?
Yes. Yeah, that's fair. They looked to, especially in that hounding wind.
Yeah.
It seemed like that usually on that semifinal Tuesday, whoever was going with the wind had a little bit of the advantage. See the early dipping play, knocked out for a corner kick, was, favoring the teams playing downwind, but Shamrock seemed to have possession and do pretty well in attack going into the wind. It was just that FC Dallas defended well enough and then were able to nick a goal and win the game. Here's a cross and nearly off of the corner kick. It's cleared off the line by the defender. Was that Worthy on the post?
Yeah, close to an Olympico, huh?
It seemed like it. That was almost a direct goal from the corner, as Steve said. The Olympico nickname. Let's take a look at this again.
I mean, it's right over the goalkeeper's head. And I think that's going in.
Is that a Worthy knee?
It looked like it, yeah.
Well done. Worthy keeping this one still 0-0. That's the closest we've seen to a goal so far in the opening 29 minutes.
Well, so the point here is that FC Dallas can absorb pressure and keep the game. Even if the game is played in their end, as it was the other day against Shamrock Rovers, they can still get the goal and go through. So, like you said, sometimes it's about clawing your way through these games.
That's Daly with a throw in for Solar. To the middle for Hutchinson. Again, well read by Michaela Goen. She'll just send it long up the field. Letting Eisler take a run for it, but Blankenship's going to thump that one well up into the FCD half.
Elizabeth Craig put herself in a little bit of trouble there, the center back for Solar. Once that ball goes over your head and you're chasing it, you don't know what's coming over your shoulder. It can get a little sketchy.
Well, get it into the midfield. Ainsley Carpenter. It's dispossessed, and now a chance for a break. Eisler curls it, blocked by Craig, and FC Dallas will get a corner.
Nice job there by Kylie Swanson for FC Dallas to win the ball in midfield and immediately play her teammate into a good position.
Ashley York is going to come up and take this from the left flag. And look who comes back to mark the tallest player for FC Dallas. That's Callista Huff. A tall, imposing attacker for Solar, headed free. Good pressure by FCD as Leggett was unsuccessful at getting that counter to go the other direction. Worthy, who cleared one off the line moments ago. Just throwing it back into the mixer there a bit, Steve, hoping for and testing that Solar back line.
And while we were waiting for the corner kick to be taken, the three FC Dallas defenders, including Worthy, were back there, and they're all doing a little knee gesture. They were all kind of having a little fun with the way Worthy cleared that ball off the line.
Whatever it takes, right?
Whatever it takes.
They'll get a throw in here. It looked like it was the point of her knee that was able to keep that one out. There wasn't a whole lot of technique there, but that's just situational awareness.
It's her story to tell now. However she says she did it.
Years later, it could be the perfectly timed toe poke, right?
Outside of the foot, inside of the foot, whatever she wants to say. And we won't argue with her.
Not at all. Nicely done there by Elizabeth Craig to just shield that one out in for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's what I was saying before. Both these center backs, I think, are smart for Solar. Doesn't mean they can't be physical, but whereas we saw in the last game, two physical center backs for Solar. Maybe they do it more the Matt Hedges way, reading the game.
Mm-hmm. You're positionally so sound that it doesn't ever look like you're really way out of, stretched out.
Which was one of the famous Italian defenders that says, if I have to go win a tackle, I've already made a mistake.
I love that line. Pressure here from Eisler. She's going to get called for a foul, however, as she trundles over Elizabeth Craig, who stood her ground and got the free kick. Pressure, though, from FC Dallas. Nice turn. As Swanson, Eisler, long-range effort. Didn't have a lot on it, and Blankenship not really troubled there. And she's going to quickly punt that one back up the field.
But Kylie Swanson, again, winning a ball in midfield, winning a tackle.
Making a play.
Yeah, you look at FC Dallas and you say, well, where's the goal coming from? If they have a goal today, where's it coming from? And right now, it might be on Kylie Swanson creating something off a turnover.
Goen tried to go forward. Michaela Goen, that is. Couldn't quite get to the front line. Solar's counter didn't amount to much as Mackenzie Goen scoops it up. But you're right, Steve. Of the chances so far, I think Solar has the edge. It's still
but not
goalless.
By
much. This is by no means a runaway.
And I would say in the last 10 minutes, maybe it's the play has leveled off a little bit. Maybe since the substitution.
Solano, a little touch here, but Blankenship read that well. She was ready to come out and play that with her feet if needed, and claims it anyway.
I don't know that I see a player for FC Dallas. I could be wrong, but I don't know if I see an Oldham type that Solar has that can really kind of control play in the midfield and be extra creative in there. But by going a little more direct right now, they're giving Solar some trouble. Winning balls in midfield, going quickly,
Yep. Again, a lot of challenges, 50-50 tackles, not a ton of prolonged possession.
Yeah, but that's okay, right?
Sure.
You figure out a way. If you can't get it done through tidy, crafty ball possession, then maybe it's better to go direct.
If nothing else, Steve, this game has been highly competitive.
Sure. Yeah, right now it's a game of 50-50s and winning second balls, and who can win that ball in the midfield and get your team going quickly the other way.
A moment of determination could very well turn the tides in a big way to either side or sway it, because right now it's in the balance, but it does feel as though whoever wins that battle of work ethic might just prevail here. Still a long way to go as we're in the 36th minute here in the U18 2021 Dallas Cup Girls Invitational Final. The third of our 4 girls finals today. I say this afternoon, but we had 2 this morning.
But FC Dallas was at a game like this just 2 days ago, weren't they? It was a
Indeed
0-0 into the 87th minute against Shamrock Rovers. Penalty kick. Bethany Beal with the wind at her back converts the penalty kick. 87th minute. FC Dallas goes through 1-0 in the semis.
Interesting to note, though, Steve, that these two teams met in the first day of group play back on Saturday. As there's another nice little look. Casey Duren was looking for something. Didn't get enough on that shot. And maybe a chance for a counterattack here as Huff plays it forward to Leggett. She has a step on the defender. Pretty good recovery run.
It was.
And didn't let Leggett get that extra step to break free. Carpenter. Huff. Intercepted. But Carpenter gets it back.
Yeah, it was Ashley York that was able to.
A little over the top run. Hutchinson. Nicely done by Worthy again. They'll get a corner kick. Steve, I was mentioning neither team scored in the opening half of their first meeting, which was back on Saturday, the 27th. And it took until Callista Huff scored in the 54th and then again in the 74th. So far, without having the advantage of having seen that match, this is playing out in a sort of similar fashion. Now, that one could have been completely different, but at least as far as the goals department goes, Solar has shown a little bit of danger when they get the ball in the box with sort of the mixing bowl. The short corner didn't get past the first defender, but the loose ball is deflected, blocked in front, cleared out, and a chance for a counter if FCD can break free. They do for the moment. Swanson taken down. Nope, play on. Swanson a little worse for the wear there. And that'll go out for an FC Dallas throw-in. A lot going on in the last 10 seconds there.
Yeah, a big scramble to get the ball out of the back, and then a good tackle in midfield. I thought it was a good tackle. It was physical.
And it looked like she got the ball.
Yep.
Did the Solar number 9, that being Madison Murphy, one of the 2 center backs. Pretty good recovery for the defender who had come up to try to attack on the corner kick. Long ball forward again. That's Murphy again. Steve, you said a couple of times you've been impressed with this pairing.
I'm sorry, which pair was that on?
That would be Murphy and Craig.
Oh, yes.
The Solar backs.
The center backs for Solar. Yeah, just good cerebral reading of the game.
Well, FC Dallas getting a chance for a throw-in right near the Solar technical area.
Sorry, I was trying to pick up a number of something happening back behind the play.
It's one advantage of being able to see the entire field is you can see something that's not directly on the ball. Hutchinson and York. This has been Worthy. This has been a battle. Worthy and Hutchinson quite a bit this afternoon. Worthy still has the big moment so far, the goal line clearance to deny what would have been an Olympico.
Yeah, nice work there, moving the ball out of the back by Worthy.
Delaney Chappell with a nice turn, but gets pushed back up the field by Craig. It went out for a throw-in for FC Dallas. Now we're only a couple of minutes away from the interval here in the 39th minute, 0-0.
Well, I know for a fact that most of these girls, this is from the west side of the Metroplex. These girls are from Colleyville, South Lake, Trinity, that Hearst, Euless, South Lake area over there. I know for a fact that most of them had high school playoff games on either Tuesday night, I believe it was.
After the semifinal
night.
morning.
So, yeah, so they played 2 games that day. So still watching to see just for signs of players slowing down a little bit, maybe not moving off the ball as much as they would.
Well, we've already seen one substitution, which appeared to be a tactical change, not a injury. for FC Dallas. As now the ball over the top. Couldn't quite connect with Kylie Swanson. But she, again, Steve, seems to show quite an appetite to get into those challenges.
Yeah, one more time, though. It's a ball over the top, but played into a position where it's not going to go all the way back to the goalkeeper. Now you've got a defender running back towards their own goal. They've got somebody over their shoulder. It's a lot to deal with as a defender.
Corner kick here from the far side. Oh, it got past the first defender, deflected toward the goal. Nervy moments for Solar defensively, but they'll eventually get that one out for a throw-in.
We've seen 2 finals already today where balls that drop in off corner kicks that aren't cleared initially creates a scramble, and then if you're first to the ball, you can score an important goal.
Michaela going over on that right side, along with Swanson. Those two definitely seem to be two of the more capable of their attack. Solano, bothered by Huff, but gets it back. And now tries to play it forward. Couldn't quite connect up with Swanson. And Murphy able to at least relieve the pressure for a moment. Now a chance for Solar to try to hit as they're stretched. Hutchinson has Leggett going forward down the right side. She'll get the play. That centering ball goes into the box. Nervy for a moment, but FC Dallas was able to get that one away and maintain possession. Eisler.
Another good cross there from Amelia Leggett. That one from the right side. She just didn't have the runners in the box that she needed.
Golgert. Carpenter.
Leggett really does pick up the ball in different spots, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm. She's not afraid to move around. She'll go looking for it. Here's the
That's
long
a good
ball looking
ball.
for Huff. And a battle here with the 22s. Peyton Wilson does a nice job for the moment to hold Huff at bay, but Huff still has it, turns, and that one goes just wide of the left post. I'll tell you what, Peyton Wilson had her hands full on that play.
She did. I mean, look, Callista Huff is a physically dominant player. That's where maybe you just have to try to be a little bit more tactical in your approach. Watch to see which leg she really favors, which foot she favors, get her going the other way. Just maybe contain her there, not get into that physical battle, you know?
Right.
Because you're not going to win it.
Nice little flick forward by Chappell. Eisler makes a cut, but gets double teamed in that return recovery run by Alyssa Austin once again.
I think Eisler's done a good job since coming in.
She seems to be able to get to the ball. She's definitely getting double teamed here, but able to get the turn. Can she get something in the box? Does she have much help? The effort was there, but Solar again getting the clear. Hutchinson,
Nice
a little
recovery
nudge.
there from Elizabeth Craig.
And kept alive pretty nicely there by Ashley York, and then forward from Chappell. They've been able to work to this left-hand side, FC Dallas, to get forward. The problem, Steve, it seems, is that when Eisler gets there, there's not a whole lot of options inside the penalty area. Knotted down. Huff. Little 1-2 over there on the left side. She'll get it back. Curled in. Well, Leggett was the target. She was held off.
Nice cross there, and you're right. She had 3 runners inside the 18 that time.
No, good foot there. Once again, Worthy doing an excellent job to not let Hutchinson get in front of her. And now a chance for Goen. She tried to get a little head of steam up, but neither side is really able to find that final connection. There's signs, Steve, of it opening up a little bit, though, I think.
Well, it's scrappy and direct right now, and I think that sort of favors FC Dallas.
Huff, Leggett, a little bit of space down the right-hand side. Curls, and in the end, a pretty comfortable save by Mackenzie Goen. As we have gone into the 45th minute, we are being told there'll be 1 minute of stoppage time added on
It wasn't a good angle to shoot from, but I don't mind that choice because she did force the goalkeeper to make a save. Something, we haven't seen either goalkeeper have a lot to do, although they both got into little physical confrontations that left them both smarting a little bit.
And that's going to be a minor foul, flagged by the assistant referee on the far side. That's going to be against Swanson. And we are into stoppage time now here at Toyota Stadium in the U18 Girls Final of the 2021 Dallas Cup. That may be the predominant highlight of the opening half, Steve, would be the challenges and the punishment inflicted on and by the goalkeepers. Huff, a chance for a late effort as she once again puts Worthy one-on-one with Hutchinson. Worthy equal to it, avoiding an obvious pun. And here's Austin as she'll throw it forward. Nice little outside of the right foot flick by Hutchinson. York did her part, and that cross had a little bit too much on it. And that'll roll out for a goal kick and might be the last action of the opening half. We'll see here as the minute of stoppage time has been played. And while we haven't seen a ton of scoring chances created, what we have seen is an absolute litany of physicality, as both of these teams are willing to do battle and fight for every inch of this pitch. And there it is. There's the halftime whistle. 0-0 here in the U18 girls final between Solar and FC Dallas West Red. And stick around for the halftime highlights. We'll recap, show a few clips, and get you ready for the start of the second half here at the Dallas Cup on ESPN 3.
New Highlander, Mr. D?
Yeah, it was time for a change. For something nicer, more refined, with plenty of space. Comfy, Derek?
Yes, sir.
Elevate every ride in the spacious 2021 Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
Get excited about driving again in the new 2021 Toyota RAV4. Toyota, let's go places.
You got me falling hard, sweet baby, got me falling hard for you. It's new, I felt this way before, you know it's true. It's still, you got me more and more. Oh, you got me falling hard.
Style, performance, power, pancake, turtleneck sweater, aardvark, Worcestershire, or Shire, I guess. It doesn't matter what I say. The Camry speaks for itself. Toyota, let's go places.
Halftime here at Toyota Stadium alongside Steve Davis. I'm Owen Newkirk here as the U18 girls final of the 2021 Dallas Cup is at the halfway point. 0-0 between FC Dallas and Solar. And Steve, it has not created, this match so far has not created a ton of offensive scoring opportunities. However, it would be foolish to suggest that this isn't a competitive fixture because it has been a battle for every inch up and down the field.
Yeah, it's exactly right. You know, the last final we saw here, the under-17s, we saw one team that had one really smooth, classy player that made everybody around her a little better. We saw a lot of technical effort, whereas you're absolutely right. This final, and by the way, I don't mind.
Not at all.
I think it's very interesting to watch because it really is going to be about grit. Fifth game, 6 days. And it's just really going to come down to a lot of desire, who's going to kind of make the moment. And I don't mind it a bit. I think it's been very interesting.
No, it really has. It's been a bit more of a positional battle, and not necessarily on a possession standpoint because both teams seem eager to get the ball up the field relatively quickly. So it's led to a lot more 50-50 balls and a heck of a lot of challenges.
Yeah, and it's going to come down to, as you said, not many chances. So that means it's going to come down to what? A set piece or one of those scrappy balls that get contested in the midfield. You win the ball and you set your team off on the other way, or maybe somebody's going to pounce on a moment of defensive inattention. Right at the end of the half, we saw one ball that kind of got caught up under one of the FC Dallas defenders' feet right in front of goal. You know, if you can pounce right there. So it's going to be somebody making that moment out of grit and desire rather than maybe out of class and technical ability, although there are players that can do that too, so who knows.
The other thing is that when you see a game like this where the battle is so fierce, you wonder about what that attrition does as the second half wears on.
Absolutely, and what kind of changes do the coaches make? We saw one by FC Dallas that we thought changed the game a little bit because probably the last 20 minutes, maybe FC Dallas had a little bit more of the play.
Well, it will be very interesting to see what they roll out with when the second 45, if it's everybody the same or if they start to think about some fresh legs either at the half or later on. But stick around because up next we'll take a look at some first half highlights. 0-0 here in Frisco at the half.
Hey, how you doing, baby? You look mighty fine. I figured I might come your way and roll up on you with that golden ticket. Shawty, can I get your digits? Maybe we can kick it. Hey. Just wait till all my time is up. Just wait till all my. Just wait till all my.
Smell irresistible. New X.
Did you know Geico could save you hundreds on car insurance and more? So what are you waiting for? World's strongest man, Martins Litzis, to help you break down boxes?
What am I gonna do to you, Box? Let me break it down for you. Oh!
Geico. See all the ways you could save.
Welcome everybody live here from Toyota Stadium. Halftime between the U18 girls final of the 2021 Dallas Cup, FC Dallas and Solar FC. As it's Steve Davis, I'm Owen Newkirk. And we've had a very entertaining morning and early afternoon so far of Dallas Cup Girls Invitational action. Let's take a look at some highlights, Steve, of that opening 45 minutes between the U18s of Dallas and Solar.
Teams walking out there right underneath that National Soccer Hall of Fame. It means a lot around here, a lot to national soccer. You talked about it a minute ago, not a whole lot of chances either way. A couple of collisions with the goalkeepers that left them rattle a little bit.
I see some pretty good positional play by the goalkeepers, except for that one.
One big knee. One big knee that kept that corner kick from swinging directly in for Solar. You know, I want to tell you what. These players out here are 17 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by the time you can be 17 at this level of youth soccer, you have literally played in dozens and dozens of tournaments, you know, multiple tournaments, sometimes one every weekend, right? But this tournament, as we talk about making the moment, this tournament means a lot to these players because Dallas Cup carries such cachet, it carries such weight. And even though the girls division has only now returned, the Dallas Cup is such a big brand. And I was just thinking a moment ago about how much I know this tournament means to these players.
I'm just looking, you talk about what it means. How many of the players are currently uncommitted? Sophomore, junior, mostly juniors, but sophomores, a couple of seniors. that, I mean, a good tournament here could be the difference between getting noticed for those NCAA college scouts.
Oh, you can't kick a soccer ball around here without hitting a scout or or a recruiter from a college, right? Andy Swift was talking to us about that the other day, about how some of them get credentials and some of them want to come in here quietly. They don't really want to know that
the under radar types.
The other people.
That's right.
We don't want to know that. Let the competition know we're on this player.
Well, it's certainly a very competitive match so far between Solar and Dallas. The question is, will it be more of the same in the second half, or will things open up? We'll find out. We'll get you ready for the keys to the second half in just a moment. Stick around because the second half is on the way right here on ESPN 3 from Frisco.
Hey, how you doing, baby? You look mighty fine. I figured I might come your way and roll up on you with that golden ticket. Shawty, can I get your
Smell irresistible. New X.
Tonight's matchup, me versus an ugly fender bender. If I can eke out a win, it's going to be a miracle, baby.
It wouldn't be a miracle because Geico gives you a team of experts to help manage your claim.
Geico is awesome, baby.
Geico.
Welcome back here live from Toyota Stadium, which is just a stone's throw from the historic downtown Main Street of Frisco, north suburb of city of Dallas in the DFW Metroplex. Alongside Steve Davis, I'm Owen Newkirk. 2021 Dallas Cup Girls Invitational presented by Mary Kay. We're halfway through the U18 Girls Final. FC Dallas and Solar are at 0-0. Today's game is brought to you by Toyota and by Coca-Cola. Steve, it's been an interesting 45 minutes so far. What are some of the things that stick out in your mind as keys to what to look for in the second 45?
Well, we keep talking about it, but it will be about who can win those 50-50s, second balls in midfield. And, also for the coaches, the coaches have to do their part here in looking out there and saying what is working today that we can take advantage of. And I think maybe for Solar, it's getting Callista Huff matched up against the smaller Peyton Wilson, or maybe getting Amelia Leggett on some of those right-sided crosses, getting her working that right side a little bit more for FC Dallas. What seems to be working is a couple of balls over the top, getting those two good center backs, running back towards their own goal that they don't look quite as comfortable with, or maybe getting the substitute, Reagan Eisler. Looks like she can work that left side, pick up balls
Agreed.
on the left side. Maybe she can get something going over there, maybe even something off Kylie Swanson, who seems to be really good at this type of game, winning balls in the midfield and then immediately finding Reagan Eisler on that left side.
I think scrappy is a pretty good description of the opening 45 minutes, and it feels like unless something incredibly different happens tactically, that it could be that sort of scrappy moment. Who wins that extra 50-50 challenge that leads to the little toe poke, Abby Worthy with the knee off the line to protect what otherwise would have been an Olympico off the corner kick. It may not be, the 40 or 50 yard long ball or the beautiful cross and header. It might be something simple. Today's second half is brought to you by In-N-Out Burger, the official burger of the Dallas Cup.
It also, Owen, it could be off a mistake. These are youth teams. Mistakes are made at all levels, but youth teams, youth players do make mistakes. That's soccer. It's youth soccer, and youth soccer is all about learning. Not just learning the game, but it's about learning about life, right? And how to absorb mistakes and bounce back from them. So we saw a couple of mistakes in the earlier games that led to goals, and I kind of have a feeling that it's going to be a little bit of a moment to forget that could lead to the goal in this one.
Well, I see a formation shift, or at least a player shift already, as Reagan Eisler, who was playing as sort of a second striker on the left side, has dropped into midfield. And notice that Michaela Goen is already up top. She was playing very much central midfield earlier in that opening half. And with her prowess out there, you wonder if they see something, maybe FC Dallas's head coach Rick Lopez saw something he didn't like as far as how they lined up.
Yeah, it's interesting, though, because I thought some of the success that they did have was through Reagan Eisler on that left side. And maybe that's the point, though, to get her on the ball just a little bit more. Don't get her isolated so much on the left side. Get her right in the middle of the game where this game really is being played.
Which is interesting because in her stead is over on that left side now is Kylie Swanson, who started on the right. So she had a pretty effective period in that opening half as far as, hounding the defense, being willing to get in on those and maybe making a turn. So they're definitely going with a front two, but a different look. On Solar on the other side, looks like they've lined up the exact same way they've started, which is with Huff playing as the forward on the left with Leggett and Hutchinson. Hutchinson tends to drop back a little bit farther on the right-hand side, but they all tend to shift over a little bit, don't they?
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how this one plays out because it has been very much a chess match so far, although a brutally physical chess match, I might add. Speaking of Leggett, she has Hutchinson to her right. She's running straight at the defense. Now lifts it. Huff, an opportunity on the right foot, and she skews it wide. I don't think she got the best contact on that. Definitely looking for a shot, however. That was not a cross.
No, but it was such a good run, such a good surge forward by Amelie Leggett, immediately turning on the Jets as she got the ball and getting forward and did a nice little diagonal peel-off run by Callista Huff. So it was the right run, the right pass, and you're exactly right. She just the final product there. She just didn't hit the ball the way she wanted. You can tell what she wanted to do is get it back across her body, across goal, go for that far post. Good idea. She just didn't quite get it executed correctly.
Now Michaela going. Try to nick it forward looking for Swanson, but it took a deflection. So she'll get a throw-in out of this. And it's going to get it right to Swanson. And maybe that strike duo can create some havoc on the Solar back line. And miscommunication there. As Austin plays it back. Murphy. Good step forward by Craig. She was in a tough spot and got out of it.
Everybody in the back very comfortable on the ball for Solar.
Well, Eisler again showing her skill on the ball. Forward now. Swanson. Pressure from Craig, and that'll get a throw-in for FCD in an advanced position. And I know it's only a couple of minutes in, Steve, but FC Dallas does look structurally a little bit more sound here to start the half.
Well, we said it a while ago that we thought Solar was a little bit better the first, 20, 25 minutes.
Agree.
But over the last 20 minutes of the opening half, I thought FCD was a little bit better.
Decent throw into the box toward the byline. Unfortunately for FC Dallas, they couldn't quite get that one going the direction they're going. Solar's going to try the other one, and Huff can't bring it down.
One more time, though. Huff just has a good knack for knowing when to separate and go pick up the ball in space.
She just sort of feels that, doesn't she? It just takes a couple of steps into an open pocket.
Yep.
And it's amazing for someone as tall as she is, you'd think that she'd command a lot of attention.
She would be noticed.
Right.
And yet somehow
she finds, you see these outlet passes, and she's got 5 to 10 yards on all sides.
Absolutely.
Good on her for being able to feel that space. Solano the throw-in. Knocked away by Carpenter. Another crunching challenge. And Solar able to work it forward, but just not quite in the reach of Huff. Again, Leggett encouraging her teammate there. Here's Peyton Wilson on the throw.
Leggett and Huff have a really good understanding. They combine really well.
Swanson.
Cheeky.
Nice little move by Murphy. Swanson gave her a good shoulder charge there. And they win a throw-in, contested. I like to see that little bit of skill in the right space. Usually you don't want your center backs taking too many chances, but that one seemed to be calculated.
Like I said, she's comfortable on the ball. All the members of the back line for Solar are.
Eisler has won her fair share of those 50-50s. Solano pressured quickly, knocked forward, but sent away. But Solano gets it again. Diagonal ball, cutting in from the left-hand side. Chappell had her shot blocked. Not a lot of space or room for extra touches so far, which, Steve, seems like they picked up right from the first half, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I tell you another thing FC Dallas is doing pretty well is the girl on the ball right there, Emery Oldham, good player, and I think FC Dallas has done a pretty good job of denying her a little space, denying her ability to get on the ball.
She's definitely the most forward of the three midfielders. And there she is now. And again, good step up by Wilson. And now some pressure on Craig from Swanson.
There again, there's that ball over the top that I think the Solar defenders, the two center backs, aren't as comfortable dealing with. When the ball is in front of them, as you just saw, they can play with the ball. They can play with the ball at their feet. I think once it gets over their heads, they're not as comfortable dealing with that.
Here's Daly. Steps around Solano, but then just doesn't have the right wavelength with Huff on that play. And then, as Steve has been focusing on, Murphy made a great play with the ball in front of her. It was in the air, but she stepped into it, and that allowed Solar to break free. Leggett tried to roll past the pressure from Ashley York, who is listed as the defensive midfielder, but is sort of playing as the fourth defender, depending on times. And Huff able to win a corner kick against Bethany Beal. And this is where Solar can be so dangerous. So a measured approach from Delaney Daly, and she will take the corner here on the left side. 53rd minute, which is almost the time that Huff scored in their first meeting in the group play. The corner comes in. Huff, it's in! It's identical! The 54th minute, and it's 1-0 Solar as Calista Huff does the exact same thing, Steve, that she did back on Saturday. Score first on FC Dallas in the 54th minute.
Hey, she's unmarked here, but don't take much away because picking that ball out of the air that way, it's not easy. Tell you what's easy to do is to sky that ball and put it in the stands right behind you. But you know what she doesn't do there, Owen? She doesn't try to overpower it there. She knows that all she has to do is just guide that ball into the back of the net because she does have a little bit of free space back there. And what do we talk about? It's a marking mistake there. It's just a little mistake. You know, we see it at all levels, but leave her open that way. She knows how to find the back of the net. She just did. Big goal.
It was a clever touch. She didn't try to smash it. She just used the speed of the cross to angle it in. It looks like Dallas is going to make a substitution here shortly, but not before another surge by Solar. That will lead to yet another corner kick.
But look, third game in a row, I think either the first or second goal has come off of a corner kick. Set piece is very important.
Madison Westbrook, number 4, is ready to come on here. For FC Dallas.
And, you know, we have to say that, you know, FC Dallas hasn't looked very comfortable dealing with those set pieces either.
Well, that was interesting. Casey Duran came over as if she thought she was being substituted out, but it's actually going to be Kylie Swanson that steps away. Steve, you were impressed with her tenacity in the opening 54 minutes or so.
Yeah, but we keep saying these girls have played a lot of soccer this week, and, you know, the coaches know better than we do what these women are capable of, and they can look out there and observe the game and say, okay, that girl is getting tired. That one is getting tired. So they just know the players better than we do. They can make those. They can spot those players.
Well, Westbrook has to come on and help defend a corner right away, so we'll have to wait and see whether that is a like for like or if there is a tactical shift after conceding. Solar with the edge. And maybe they're going to send Chappell onto the right side. She was on the left earlier. And he played back to Blankenship, who has done well in the Solar net.
Nice job working out of pressure.
Very calm play by Lillian Golgert. We haven't said her name a lot so far, Steve. She's been one of the more the defensive of the midfielders, but that's usually a good thing.
Yeah.
Now a surge down the near side. Leggett Gave York all she could handle, but in the end, FC Dallas gets control. Solano, a little bit of space here on the right side. And if she wants numbers forward, Chappell looks like she just did not have a 40-yard sprint in her at that particular moment.
Well, we'll just say it again and again. A lot of games this week, and also a big, expansive field here. So there's a lot of ground to cover. They're an hour into this game. It's it's a mild day, but it's out in the sun. Still warm out there.
It's just about perfect soccer weather. You don't want it too hot, which we see all too often in the summer here in the MLS calendar.
Yep.
Usually about 106 when we're doing this broadcast. And it does appear, Steve, as though Madison Westbrook, the recently introduced FC Dallas substitute, is going to play on that left-hand side as Chappell switching over onto the right. And we get a whistle and a foul against FC Dallas. That will give Solar a free kick inside their attacking half.
Yeah, there's a little arm hold that happened a couple of seconds back. Referee letting the play go on, and then once Solar lost possession, going ahead blowing the whistle then.
So Elizabeth Craig is going to send this one forward. Plenty of targets at the top of the 18. Defended nicely. Madeline Solano. Long ball forward. Delaney Chappell will give chase. But again, pretty smooth, comfortable play by Madison Murphy. From her goalkeeper. Murphy again. Holding back on Chappell. Doesn't have a lot of space, but is able to roll away from it. Nice turn. Daly. Kept in by Solano, but back it goes again to Murphy. Eisler with a step in. Boy, just not a lot of time on the ball as both of these teams are eager to close down almost immediately. This time it's going to go back to Beal. She puts it off of Leggett for a throw-in. Well, Steve, Solar with the early second half goal in the 54th minute from Callista Huff has not only given them the lead, but sort of laid down the gauntlet to say to FC Dallas, okay, what's your response?
Yeah, well, remember, first half, again, it was 20, 25 minutes of Solar, and then FC Dallas more and more into the match, started dominating a little bit more of the play. So
now a chance for Hutchinson. Ainsley Hutchinson on the right side, cuts back onto her left foot. Can she get a shot free? No, she'll lay it off. And Leggett had absolutely no space. York, beautiful block, closed her down. And that went from a pretty promising run to nothing very quickly.
Yeah, really nice job there by Ainsley Hutchinson of cutting the ball back, putting it on her left foot. But then she just took a little bit of a heavy touch and couldn't squeeze the shot off. Nice pass there. Nice attempt to find that angle at least.
Another interception by York. I've been impressed with her defensive abilities today, for whatever that's worth. Here's Huff. She'll try to turn the corner. Some space for a second. Huff, and it's two. Solar and Callista Huff double their advantage, this time in the 60th minute. And Solar is off and running here in the second half.
Well, it's a ball one in midfield. Played directly into Callista Huff. Callista Huff beats the defender on that side. And what did we talk about a minute ago? Talked about getting that matchup with Peyton Wilson. We thought that physically, that Callista Huff, that's one that she could win. Sped past her, and then what you do? A little toe poke.
Cheeky. You mentioned that on a play that Madison Murphy made a moment ago, but that was a clever little touch because that's harder for the goalkeeper to read.
Yeah.
She didn't wind up and take a big thundering shot. Instead, that sort of quick flick of the toe happened so fast, and it got underneath Mackenzie going almost immediately. It was a really nice finish. And I don't know about you, Steve, but it always seems like a really good sign of a striker to be able to score multiple ways, not just with sheer power. And both of her goals were of different varieties, neither of which were kicking it as hard as she possibly could.
Nope, you're right. Left-footed volley. Picked out that corner kick on the first touch for the first goal. That time showing a little speed, a little acceleration, getting around the corner on the left side. And then just a little bit of craftsmanship as she finishes with the right-footed toe poke.
So Solar looking for the U18 Dallas Cup 2021 championship trophy.
Getting to be quite a day for Solar, if this stands.
Indeed it has. However,
time left.
FC Dallas will have about 29 minutes or so to prove otherwise. They're going to have to do something relatively quickly because down 2, they can't wait for one late goal to level things off. Nice little interchange. Oldham again in the middle of that. And stepping in is Peyton Wilson, who was able to keep that from getting to the feet of Huff, which might, Steve, be the best defensive strategy. Don't let her have the ball.
Yeah, but we talked about it. She's got a really good knack for when to separate.
And that's not always inherent from your striker.
No. Well, look, especially when a player at youth level is good physically, is fast or is strong, they can depend on that, right?
Sure.
So, but it becomes a little bit of a crutch. Now, you have all those physical tools, and you can be a smart player like that.
And a quick pull down, and Legette, just like that. A seemingly innocuous cross into the box turns into the third Solar goal, as it was an incredible first touch pull down and finish from Amelia Legette. Solar 3, FC Dallas 0.
What's a cross? It's just not quite dealt with, and then there's a loose ball. We talked about it a while ago. You know, sometimes there is a loose ball like that, and the first one who can react, first one to pounce, is going to come out on top. And that time it was Amelia Legette.
Well, Steve, it felt as though the team that would strike first would have a huge advantage in this one after a very tightly contested first half that had very little between the two teams, if we're being honest. But then that goal from Huff in the 54th minute just created the separation, and then they've been able to tack on 2 more in the next 9 minutes.
Well, it did seem like Solar was the better team, creating the better opportunities in the latter part of the first half. FC Dallas maybe was the better team, but it was because they were being scrappy, winning more of the balls in midfield. They still weren't creating a whole lot. It was always Solar doing a little bit more of the creating.
Well, they were able to, as a club, win the U16 final over DKSC. The U17s had a resounding victory over FC Dallas in the U17 final. And right now, Steve, unless something dramatically shifts it looks like Solar might finish the day 3 for 3 at the U18 level. They do not have the U19s.
Can't be a clean sweep.
So it's not going to be a full day for Solar, but still, to come in and win all 3 trophies, I would think it'd be a banner day for the club.
It would be. Especially as this is going to be a special year because this is the year they brought the Dallas Cup, brought back the girls division. Of course, the Dallas Cup, this is the 42nd edition. It was 1997, the last time they had a Dallas Cup girls division. And we know the ambition, the aim for the Dallas Cup board and for executive director Andy Swift is to make it as big and as competitive as the boys division has been for so long.
And it's been a great tournament so far with one more match to go. I'm certainly interested, as we were discussing in our earlier broadcast, about the possibility of next year's Girls Invitational being a international affair.
Let's hope there are a lot of international affairs next year. Let's hope that we're out of this thing that
I agree with you there.
Has kind of kept things at a low tempo. And I'm glad we're at a low tempo right now. At least we're able to have a Dallas Cup this year. Weren't able to have it last year. Weren't able to do a lot of things last year.
Correct. MLS schedule is only a couple of weeks away. 17 days, I think, if you look at it, for the new season opens up. We've had international competition for both the men and women. Friendlies, qualifiers. The Olympic qualifying just happened for the... They're still calling it, Steve, the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, even though it's going to happen in 2021.
Very unstable.
We hope it'll make it, but yes.
Something happening in 2021 you're still calling 2020, but
that is odd, isn't it?
It is what it is.
And of course, there's the possibility that by a year from this December, we'll have a 2020 World Cup in Qatar.
In November and December.
It's going to be weird for it to not be in the summertime. But for those that appreciate the MLS schedule, it works out well for them. Solar with a 3-0 lead. 2 from Huff, 1 from Leggett. All here in a span of 9 minutes early in the second half. We're in the 67th minute now of the U18 final.
Well, nobody stood out in this game the way Jaden Shaw did in the last game. But if we were going to pick out, say, a standout line, the Solar front line has been very good today.
I agree.
Yeah, the way they interchange, the way they combine. We talked a while ago about Leggett and Huff, the way they have pretty good chemistry. And look, at the youth level, you have a lot of good individual play, and you have a lot of good team tactics, of course. But I don't know how often we see two players that really have a really good understanding of how to play off of each other, and they seem to have that.
Huff trying to connect with Hutchinson, the third member of that triumvirate. And to be fair, she's put in a heck of a shift so far, Steve. She's worked very hard trying to go against arguably one of FC Dallas's best defenders. As here's a good ball forward. Michaela Goen with an opportunity, just can't get there. And once again, Elizabeth Craig in that formidable central defensive partnership with Madison Murphy is handled well. But I was mentioning Hutchinson. She's gone after Abby Worthy, and Worthy's done extremely well to keep her at bay, but not for lack of effort.
Yeah, no, it's been a good battle between them. Good battles all over the field, really, in this one.
FC Dallas trying to just power their way into something, and nope, goal kick.
I thought they'd powered their way into a corner kick.
I did too. Just for a second there, I thought Westbrook might have earned one.
Again, Callista off, out in space. You
just wonder how how is she so wide open when the ball's coming her way, right?
Well, you know, some players turn off when the ball goes out, and she doesn't.
She just immediately moves, just floats to that spot. Hutchinson is offside here. The flag is raised. Oh, if this were a hockey game, 2 or 3 players would have gone after her for shooting after the whistle. It's not quite the same unwritten rule here in soccer. As a goalkeeper, I never liked it when somebody decided to keep the play going well after the whistle.
One of the things I
but
like.
We're touchy like that, Steve.
One of the things I like to do as a youth coach is, if I'm in charge of a team, is have one scrimmage where the only rule is you can never turn away from the ball, right? Like, even when the ball goes out, I say, if I see anybody turn around when the ball goes out, you know, we're all doing 5 push-ups, right? And it trains the players not to turn off. And I think that's what Callista Huff does. She doesn't turn off. She just, you know, she sees there's about to be a goal kick or a throw in. She doesn't turn off, whereas everybody else maybe turns off for a minute. And by the way, also credit to the goalkeeper there. What she just saw a minute ago was, oh, there's Callista. If I take this quickly, she's going to be open, and she was.
And she does these. It's interesting. We have the ability to watch her off the main camera at times, and she'll take 2 or 3 steps back.
That's all it takes sometimes.
Not even turning and running, just a little. Hey, you're here, and now sort of gradually creeping away from the defender. And you're right. If the defense isn't very alert, all of a sudden that separation is made. And we keep harping on it, but it is so important, especially in a match like this where space is at such a premium.
There it is again. I tell young players this. Look, it doesn't have to be a dead sprint for 10 yards. Sometimes it can literally be 2 quick steps sideways. And just then when she received the ball, that's what it was. 2 quick lateral steps. Now she's got the ball in space.
We have a substitution for FC Dallas as number 15, Alyssa Abeta, is coming on. And she will... I think that's number 9, Casey Duren. Indeed it is. And so Abeta will come on into the midfield and take up her spot to the right of Reagan Eisler. Steve, we may, depending on how many players are still available, we might see a couple more of these before the half is over. And I say that, and Solar is going to make I believe, their first change of the afternoon. Yes, indeed. And that's going to be it for, it looks like Ainsley Hutchinson will be removed. She's worked hard today, Steve, on that right side. It's not easy going after a strong defender like Abby Worthy, but Hutchinson has definitely put the effort in.
It's okay, unless something weird happens. She's going to have a Dallas Cup championship medal here pretty soon, just like everybody else.
That's number 1, Samantha Jones, that's replacing her. So she's on the first sub of the day for Solar.
Oh, and we talked about this a while ago, how and the result may be decided by this point. But look, you're still in the final. It's this is a fantastic stadium. It's a fantastic field. As you noted, you can still maybe in different ways.
There's a quick chance across as Legette. Not sure if she was shooting or trying to connect with the substitute Jones, but it's going to end up going all the way out for a throw-in.
Still in different ways you can impress maybe a scout that's here to look at different players. If you're playing hard at the end of a game that's been decided, I think that says something about your character. Also just, winning individual battles. Worthy is going to remember the time in the Dallas Cup final. She pulled a goal. She pulled a goal off the line with her knee.
A nice little flick off the header there.
So you can still have those moments to remember.
As Chappell tried to flick it on, and coming way forward on that one was Ashley York. I wonder if because Abeta has come on, if York's been allowed to push up. But here's a chance. Jones getting forward, but Mackenzie Goen is able to step up first and take control of that one before it becomes a real threat.
There's a good example. There's Samantha Jones just ended the game. If she just reads that a little bit earlier, she's in on goal because she just got a little, it was a brilliant little pass down that right center channel. She reads that just a wee bit earlier. Maybe she gets a goal in, within the first 5 minutes of her being in the game.
Solar's about to make their second substitution, and it looks like FC Dallas might be making one as well. Play continues here. Carpenter slides it into the middle. Olam. Nice touch by Legette to herself. A chance. Goen was equal to it.
That was a brilliant little play. Just the other day, I saw an old clip from Pelé, and I think it was the '58 World Cup when he was very, very young, scoring a famous goal that I'd heard about. I don't know that I've ever really seen it, where he does the same little thing where he flicks it over a defender, spins around, and kind of flicks it to himself, scores the goal.
It takes a little bit of skill to be able to set yourself up over a defender like that into space. All right, here are the changes. First, we have one for FC Dallas, as it appears that Madeline Solano is going to make way, and I think it's number 2, Isabella Dagonia, is coming on. And then for Solar, that's going to do it for Lillian Golger, who I thought had a very strong day in defensive midfield. And coming in for her, we number 23, Aubrey Lida.
Yeah, Ainsley Carpenter and Lillian Golgert, both really solid right in front of that back line. That little midfield triangle with Emery Oldham doing a lot of the dirty work. I know we've talked a lot about the front line, but it doesn't work if you don't have people in there winning balls and moving the ball up to that front line.
Well, we've got about 15 minutes to go here in this match, barring, as Steve said earlier, a pretty miraculous turn of affairs, which is still possible, but Solar with a pretty commanding 3-0 lead at this point in the U18 girls final. Don't forget, if you're watching on ESPN 3, which if you aren't, then you aren't listening to us. But if you are, we appreciate it. And we have one more broadcast for you, the U19s, coming up at 4 o'clock Central Time, which will pit the FC Dallas U19 against Crossfire Premier, which is, I believe, just outside of downtown Seattle is where they're from.
Yeah, we saw some of
Washington State.
we saw some of the Crossfire team the other day. It's a lot of good quality on that team. I'm really looking forward to that final.
Boy, there's an offside. A nice look, though. Jones just didn't quite get the timing right, but again, trying to attack that high line. Yeah, Crossfire is the reason why Solar didn't have a club in all 4 division finals. They won 7-0. 6 goals in the first half, Steve. However, their opponent, FC Dallas, also had a pretty strong showing. If I remember correctly, it was against the Sting in the semis. But
Yeah,
we'll
that's right.
to get to that in our next broadcast, which is coming up here in not too long, about an hour, a little under an hour. Olam. She's been a pivotal cog in the wheel, getting the ball moving from side to side for Solar. And they seem to have settled into the game a little bit here, Steve. Maybe after the air has been deflated out of FC Dallas a little bit. Light of the substitute. Tries to send it in. It's deflected away. She gets it back, however. Thumped by Beal. Heck of a battle inside the area. Ooh. And play continues. Might have got bundled over. It seemed like everybody stopped thinking there was going to be a free kick, and the referee said, let's keep it going. Here's Huff. Oldham has a chance on the diagonal ball. Here's Jones, pulls it to her right foot. Great intervention by Worthy. That's not the first time she's prevented a goal, and that was a great opportunity denied by the defender.
Well, it was a really nice little diagonal feed there from Emery Oldham, putting her teammate in the right spot.
One thing I have noticed, and I don't know if it's become a product, Steve, of the goal, especially the first one by Huff. She scored 2 today, but Dallas has had a lot more trouble creating stuff in the attacking third of the field here in the second half. They were much better, and they started to come on maybe early second half, but lately it feels like it's been tilted towards Solar.
Well, I think when it's a game of just winning your challenges, getting stuck in and winning your challenges, it's harder to do that when you look at the score and it's 1-0, then 2-0,
Sure.
then 3-0, and maybe you just lost a little bit of the edge, and I think that's what having that edge was what was keeping FC Dallas in the game when it looked like Solar was a better technical team, but FC Dallas, by virtue of just grinding it out, was grinding closer and closer to the result or to potentially getting a result, and then it's just tough to have your heart in it to keep grinding when you're down 2 and 3-0.
Goen will play it forward. She's dropped into a more defensive role. She was started the half up top. There's been some shuffling of positions here. York, once again, a nice effort by Austin, who, boy, she's been up and down the field today on that right-hand side for Solar. Has Alyssa Austin.
We saw in the last game, Solar as an organization, they don't mind getting those outside backs up the field, do they?
No, they don't. I mean, in
that's
the
modern soccer, though. That's
in the
great.
U17s, they were almost playing just with a back 2.
That's exactly right. They had the right back too.
Oh, did they ever? That was a luxury to have, to be able to send everybody forward because of what Hartman and Roller could do back there by themselves.
But isn't it interesting the way trends, and we talked about this a while ago, the way trends in soccer, they funnel down from the pros. And for a while in the pros, it was enough if you could just defend on an island out there, then you could play outside back. That was enough. But now you've got to be able to defend on an island, and you've got to be able to create something and at least contribute something to the attack.
And if you can get forward and do it a lot, you can be a premier outside back.
That's right. And maybe you can win a Dallas Cup final.
Maybe you can.
Yeah, we saw in the last game. And I'm sorry, I forgot her first name, Ma.
Was it Josephine Ma, if I remember correctly?
Yes. I think that's correct.
She was the
Solar
number 10.
Yeah, the left back.
Josephine Ma.
Yeah, Josephine Ma. We saw how much she contributed to the attack, just getting up and down the left side.
She was all over that left side. Here's Dagonia, one of the more recent FC Dallas subs. She'll get another throw out of that. Well, Steve, we talked about the temperature early today, as Dagonia will try to head it forward. A deflection here, I think, is going to go out for a goal kick. But, I mean, really, when you talk about putting on an event like this, especially an outdoor one, weather is always a concern. And
don't jinx them. They still have boys.
Today has been wonderful.
No, it's perfect.
Yes. Now, there's more to come, right? But for today's final, couldn't ask for any better.
I'm looking at the flags across the field. I think they've even died down a little bit. So we've even lost some of the wind that we had this morning.
I'm sure it's a little warmer on the field than it is up here in our shaded broadcast booth, but no complaints from us. Here's a charge forward. Leggett looking for another one. Nice save off the fingertips of Mackenzie Goen, who has done her level best to keep this one from getting further out of hand.
Boy, Leggett, when she gets, she puts her head down and gets going. She's got one thing in mind: direct to goal.
Well, she has one. She probably feels she should have 2 or 3. Goen has done a nice job of keeping this at bay. Solar will get another corner kick with the imposing presence of Callista Huff looming large. It's headed away, not out, kept alive. Leggett almost got there, but boy, Michaela Goen did an excellent job of winning that battle and then draws a foul.
Yeah, one more time though, Solar had a runner free at the back post off a corner kick. It was Callista Huff to create the first goal of the game, taking that corner kick directly and scoring directly from Delana Daly. That time it was Emery Oldham at the back post who kind of snuck around, did a little curling run, but same difference though, the same result in that she ended up with the ball at the back post, and that time it didn't turn out as disastrously for FC Dallas, but just something for the FC Dallas team to work on for the next tournament.
Madison Westbrook charging up the left side. Wins a throw-in. That ball goes way out of play, so let's go track down one of the other ones here as we're in the final 7 minutes of normal time with Solar leading 3-0. Here in the Dallas Cup U18 final of the Girls Invitational presented by Mary Kay. And Worthy will heave that one forward down the line. York tried to sneak it across to a Beta, couldn't do it, but now they will switch play. Good read by the substitute, Aubrey Lida, or Lida. Gonna get another substitution for Dallas. I think Delaney Chappell has run her final moment of today. And it looks like Rachel Stiles is going to check in here to finish the match. Indeed she is. She'll come on for Chappell. Leggett.
She wants more. Look at that.
She's not satisfied. Her thirst hasn't been quenched by the odd goal. I think she feels she could have a hat trick today. It's a sign of a true striker, isn't it?
Yep.
Long run here from Delaney Daly, who at one point started at the left back position. She's moved a little bit since the substitution, and Aubrey Lida's come in.
Nice defensive work over there again by Abby Worthy.
And Steve, you used the phrase earlier in one of our broadcasts of emptying the bench. It feels like that's about the case at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I'd like to see it. I mean, it's, again, the result is decided, but a player can come in and know that they played a few minutes on this great field inside a stadium. It's memorable,
Macy Armstrong is the FC Dallas player who's going to be coming on now. There's only a handful of players who've been in since the opening kickoff.
I mean, the stadium is coming up on 20 years old. It's there have been U.S. Open Cup championships decided here. There's been 2 MLS Cup championships decided here. U.S. national team has played here. U.S. women's national team has played here.
It's just a little over a year ago, if I remember right.
That's right. Look, there's history here. You're playing in a place that literally has a lot of history now. So good to see more players get the opportunity to play here.
That was Abby Worthy who made way. Boy, I thought, Steve, aside from just the clearance off the line, she had a very strong performance
Well,
today.
I think in your sport, you'd say she put in a shift, didn't she?
I thought so.
Yeah. This is your sport, too.
My other sport, please.
Yes, sir. I beg your pardon, sir. I'm sorry.
Nonetheless, I thought Worthy was great today. There's a long cross in. May have grazed off the crossbar there, just over the outstretched fingertips of Mackenzie going in goal. And she looked like she was not totally comfortable with that. Let's take another look.
No, I don't think that grazed. That hit the crossbar.
Yep. Stayed out, but not that far off from finding its way in from the right corner. And although you're right, the sting of the challenges has just abated a little bit, hasn't it? Because it was downright. It wasn't nasty. It was fierce.
No, it's physical.
Right. It was physical, but it wasn't to the point of girls to the point where it felt like they were out to get each other. It just was, I want it more. No, I want it more. Okay. But that seems to have abated just a hair or two. Be a throw in here for Solar.
Well, not only is the result not in doubt, but look, you're 90 minutes into a game in the sun when you've played a lot of soccer over the last few days.
Take a little bit of the steam out of you?
Sure.
Well, it's been a wonderful day so far. We still have one more match to go, Steve, but if you sort of look at the end of this, we're now inside the final 2.5 minutes of regular time. Have to feel like the Dallas Cup board has to be thrilled with what they've seen from the first girls Invitational in almost 25 years.
I think you are. I think, first of all, you're thrilled that you've had good weather this week. Looks like they're going to continue to have good weather. That's always that's something you have to watch with the Dallas Cup. But I think the important thing, Owen, is they got it going again.
Yes.
You know, we know it's kind of been a goofy year, but they were able to get the tournament going. They were able to get the girls division going again. They found that right sponsor in Mary Kay. I love that they found Mary Kay, by the way, because talk about a company that for decades now has been all about empowering women, about smashing the glass ceilings. So I think it's a perfect sponsor, and I just think it's important that they got it going. I mean, heck, if they had 2 teams out here in each division, I wouldn't care. I'm just to make progress, and they can build on it, and they will build on it. And I think it's just fantastic that they've got the girls division going again.
One would imagine that next year and beyond that things will only get bigger and brighter. Nothing to diminish this year, of course, but
no, look, this year there were more Dallas teams in it, and again, it's just about getting the doggone thing going again.
Didn't have the chance because of the pandemic to go internationally.
To attract the international teams.
That's why they didn't have the Super Division? The Super Cup?
The Super Group, that's right.
Super Group, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't want to have the Super Group this year because they just felt like they've built such a brand there, and they didn't want to do anything to subtract from the brand if they couldn't get those teams that were, pardon the pun here, super.
Sure. The late run. Looking for Huff. Can she get her hat trick? It didn't look like much at first, but then it nearly came to fruition. And the almost insatiable appetite for attack from both Huff and Leggett continues here in the 90th minute.
So here's your question. You're a referee. The match is decided. Do you add time? Do you add just a minute?
I mean, they've scored 3 goals. There's been a plethora of substitutions, so there's ample opportunity to add stoppage time if the referee were to so choose, but can't imagine there's going to be a whole lot here as we're just about to find out on the board. Or at least all the fans looking at the other side. I mean, 2 minutes minimum of stoppage time, so that's about right, Steve. It could have been, I think, much more with the amount of stoppages there were.
I'm trying to remember. Was it the Spanish goalkeeper? Was it Iker Casillas, who in the dying moments, when one of those dominant Spain teams were they were clobbering Italy, and he basically implored the referee, "Don't do a stoppage time."
Did he really?
Yes.
I'm trying to remember that now.
He said, "Have some respect for our worthy opponents. Don't make them suffer.
Don't drag this out any longer than it has to."
Yeah.
Well, Well, the scoreline is not in doubt at the moment as we are into stoppage time. It must be said that this FC Dallas U18 club doesn't look like they don't belong here, Steve.
No.
I mean, Solar's been the better on the day, and you applaud them for that. They've been great, but this isn't a double-digit blowout by any means.
No, look, these teams are close. I think the difference was Solar's front line.
Good late run defensively by Aubrey Lida.
Good players on both sides. I think the midfield was a draw. Both teams have good defenders, good goalkeeping.
Right, you're right though. Their front three was the difference in the second half, especially that duo of Huff and Leggett.
Yeah.
I mean, they scored all three of the goals. They created. They worked off each other, and in the end, in a match that was that narrow of a balance, that was the tipping point.
Yeah, difference makers.
And sometimes the scoreline belies the facts of the game being a lot closer than it shows. I think it's about right. But that being said, once again, this could easily have been the other way.
It could have been.
Left-footed effort by Isler.
And it really was a 10-minute period where all the goals were scored.
Yep.
54th, 60th, and 63rd minute.
Now, Blankenship has not had a overly taxing day as the whistle sounds, and Solar has completed a hat trick of Dallas Cup championships so far today as they have won the U16, the U17, and now the U18 Girls Championship final, won by Solar as they beat FC Dallas 3-0. Stick around because Steve and I will be here to wrap things up in a moment, and we still have one more game left here live from Frisco.
Hey, how you doing, baby? You look mighty fine. I figured I might come your way and roll up on you with that golden ticket. Shawty, can I get your digits? Maybe we can kick it. Hey, just wait till all my time is up. Just wait till all my, just wait till all my.
Smell irresistible. New X.
Weight isn't the best measure of physical health because it can be made of all sorts of stuff. Introducing Amazon Halo. Halo uses your smartphone's camera to analyze body fat percentage, a better indicator of health than weight or BMI alone. Then a personalized 3D model helps you track progress over time. Halo's nearly twice as accurate as leading at-home smart scales, so you can focus on your health, not just your weight.
Toyota Stadium in Frisco has been the site of 3 championship victories in the girls division, U16, 17, and most recently U18 of the 2021 Dallas Cup Girls Invitational presented by Mary Kay, as the Solar U18 girls knocked off the FC Dallas West Red squad 3-0 this afternoon on the pitch in North Texas. Steve, it was all about the second half for Solar after a very tightly contested 0-0 opening 45. They broke free. Their big striker, Calista Huff, scoring in the 54th minute, then again in the 60th, and then it was the final tally, 9 minutes from start to finish from Leggett to make it 3-0.
You said it. I mean, the first half was all about half chances, just like that one. It was just mostly about contested balls in midfield, who was going to win the challenges in midfield, who was going to come up with the second balls off of those challenges. But then things broke open, almost broke open right there. Abby Worthy with a nice save at the back post off the corner kick. One more shot there. That was a pretty comfortable save. But second half, that's actually the second goal. Calista Huff, toe poke. This is the first goal. Huff picking the ball out of midair. Elena Daly on the corner kick there. That's Amelia Leggett.
And it was fantastic for Solar. They were the more clinical, and they get the championship trophy. Congrats to both of these teams, and so far a wonderful championship Thursday for the girls division. Still one more to go, but for the U18 division, Solar gets the victory 3-0 over FC Dallas. Any final thoughts, Steve? Because we're getting ready for the U19s, which will be the next one, but to put a bow on this one.
Yep, front line. The front line for Solar was the difference today.
All right, thank you very much for joining us here as Solar gets the victory. For Steve Davis, I'm Owen Newkirk saying so long from Toyota Stadium in Frisco, where the final score is 3-0 Solar. This has been a presentation of ESPN.